a good thing I don't like to take selfies.
Polaroid.
What's going on, everybody? So I just got Polaroid from the Redbox. This is a movie that has been to like festivals, I believe. It's been on VOD, I think, for a while now. It's finally out physically. You can get a physical copy now, finally, at Redbox. I think it came out a week or two ago at Redbox, and I was finally able to get it. I checked about a week ago, and it was unavailable, so I finally checked again, and there it was. So I haven't heard anything great about this movie, so I went with low expectations. It's a PG-13 horror movie, but it's directed by Lars Klevberg, who directed Child's Play, which is one of my favorite horror movies of 2019 so far. Nothing has beaten it. No, not even Midsommar. So I liked that Lars Klevberg was going to direct it, and it's based off of a short film that he made back in 2015, but it's still garbage. It's PG-13 horror movie garbage, and it's generic. So I guess you can say we're in the spoiler section. I mean, not spoiler, the negatives, but if you just want to know what the synopsis is, it's about an evil, haunted Polaroid camera. It's got the ghost of a serial killer attached to it, and if you take a picture of somebody, that person will die. Kind of like Final Destination 3 has that premise going, except not scary. It's just, there's hardly anything good to say about this movie. It's just mediocre. It's so mediocre. I was going to do like a spoiler section. I was going to write down cool things that happen within and maybe do like a spoiler section in this movie, but there's nothing interesting that happens that I even had like an interest of writing down so I can talk about it. In my spoiler section, I just wrote generic shit happens. That's it. That's all that happens. It's so mediocre. It's dark too. Like, sometimes being too dark is a good thing for horror movies. Horror movies, they always like to, have a lot of shadows, but this is too much shadows. Every scene's dark. They go to the hospital, it's dark. They go to the prison, it's dark. Too dark. Way too dark. And they research the evil scene. There's just so many like lines and character moments, and to go research the evil scene. There's so many things where it's like, oh, how many times are we gonna see this? Quit doing it. And the bad guy's not even scary. It's a CGI bad guy, just like the Nun. I don't like CGI monsters in my horror movies. Basically, the bad guy is Mr. Jefferson from Life is Strange. Spoiler alert, he does exactly what Mr. Jefferson does. He's taking pictures of people in chairs. He wants to put them in the dark corner and frame them in a moment of desperation. He's obsessed with the idea of capturing that moment when innocence evolves into corruption. That shift from black to white to gray, as Mr. Jefferson would say. Hey, that rhymed. But not exactly. Like, this guy is just obsessed with just taking pictures of people in chairs and killing them, and his own daughter. This movie tries to throw a couple of little tiny twists at the end, but it's just like, you're just retconning this story that already wasn't interesting and generic and done. Like, it tries to be like a prank gone wrong route, and then it's like, no, that was a lie. Spoiler. I guess that's my spoiler section. I'm trying to save you some time and money. I'm going to spoil the movie for you because you do not need to watch it. It's not terrible, but it's not good or even somewhat decent. It's just like, after you're done watching it, you're like, okay, so there's that. Like, nothing remotely interesting. The characters are just bland. They're just typical teenagers. They talk like teenagers. They keep taking selfies, and that ends up killing them. I like that idea. I mean, that would be a positive, but we're not there yet. The kills, why even write in your script a kill that would be awesome and gory if it was rated R, if you're not going to execute on that, like actually deliver? There's a scene where somebody is going to be ripped in half. Whatever you do to the photo, it will happen to that person. If you burn the photo, they'll burn. If you rip it, they'll rip in half, and that's exactly what happens. And we don't get to see it. It's off camera, so why even have it that, like, this should have been rated R. And I like that they saved the one fuck that they're allowed to say in the PG-13 movie at the very end. That final line that the final girl will deliver to the bad guy when she defeats him. She goes, fuck you. I love how every place in this movie is always abandoned. Like, even the public places that aren't old abandoned buildings. They go to a hospital. There's no nurses anywhere. Bullshit. It's the middle of the day. That place should be hopping. One kid's locked up, and all of a sudden the guards are gone like he's Jeffrey Epstein or something. The only good things I can say about this is I enjoy the idea behind the premise. It's not really unique or anything, but I like the idea. It's kind of creepy. I like the little camera noise that it makes. It kind of reminds me of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the remake. That camera noise, it's always eerie sounding. I like the idea of burning the photos and ripping the photos. It like fucks with you if you do that. Like whatever you do to the photo happens to you. What the? And I like the line at the very end when the girl is like, I'm never gonna photobomb again. I just thought that was funny because she ends up being targeted by the evil spirit because she photobombed, and that was a big mistake. But yeah, just very bland, like meh, whatever. Just not interesting. It's just generic PG-13 horror movie stuff. But if that's your shtick and you like it, this is decent for you maybe. But you're not gonna see anything on screen. There's no kills. There's really, they're all off camera. There's no blood. There's no gore. There's no interesting characters. You don't give a fuck. When it comes to Polaroid, this is very much wasted time. Those are my quick thoughts on Polaroid. Have you seen this movie yet? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.